What's up, awesome peeps? Brent McCluskey here with Electrified Reviews, and today we're going over the K1S electric scooter. All right, guys, there is a lot of awesome stuff to go over with this scooter. It is just, I mean, look at this thing. Let me just do a quick walk around so you guys can see this thing and all of its beauty. It's just such a clean looking scooter in the first place. Really love the way this thing looks. Just so sleek, so polished. Honestly, everything about it is just super sleek. But let's start with the price on this, because it is not a cheap purchase, okay? This scooter, this is the Skooza K1S again, and this thing runs for 3,500 bucks, $34.95, okay? So it is a hefty purchase, but it's really quite a bit of value in my opinion. This thing offers a lot, and that's what we're gonna go over, okay? We're gonna tell you about it. So, but along with that price of 3,500 bucks, I do want to say that right now, these guys are offering free shipping. So that's kind of a nice little bit of savings right there. Typically shipping is like 300 bucks, right? So that's definitely something. They also have a 1-year warranty on this. So if anything goes wrong, the battery, the motor, like whatever, you know, you got a year, right? And that's nice. That's kind of above and beyond. Not every company does that, but that is something I would expect for a scooter of this price point. So, man, where do I want to start with this? I think let's just start where we normally start. We'll talk about the motor here, okay? So the motor on this scooter is a 1200 watt hub motor here in the back. So 1200 watts, it's a lot of power, right? This thing does get going to a high top speed of 28 miles per hour for the K1S, which is this version right here. The K1, which is I think like $100 cheaper or 200 bucks cheaper, something like that, that has a top speed of 20 miles per hour. But this one right here, the K1S, top speed of 28 miles per hour with this 1200 watt motor. So for me, I weigh about 185 pounds. I'm typically carrying like, I don't know, you know, this here. I got this backpack. Where's my other bag? Oh, right over here. You know, I'm typically carrying quite a bit of gear with me, like 25, 30 pounds. And even with all that weight, this thing can get me up that top speed of 20 miles per hour pretty easily. It even gets me up hills really easily too. We'll show you guys some ride shots here in a minute, but this thing has power to spare, to be sure. Enough power that I would, you know, caution you guys just to be careful with it, because it gets going quicker than you might think. Yeah, okay, so battery power, right? Because again, this is a scooter, not a bike, right? So there's no pedals, no way to assist power. So you're gonna want a good sized battery, and Skooza has done a good job with that. 48 volt system here with a kilowatt hour battery, 1000 watts, 20 amp hour battery, huge battery pack in this thing. And what's great, I didn't bring the keys, but if I wanted to, you can unlock this little base plate right here. This piece pops up, battery is hot swappable, man. You can just pop in a new battery and you're good to keep going if you wanted to. The batteries, they are pricey. They cost $1,000 if you want to get a spare one, but it's an extra kilowatt of juice to kind of extend the range here. The estimated range on this is 40 miles, but obviously that's an estimate. I mean, range is really going to depend on just how it's ridden, how fast, terrain, rider weight, rider style, all that stuff, of course. But yeah, that's kind of an estimate, around 40 miles of range. Haven't done a full range test on this, but I have gone about 20 miles on a charge, and I had about a half charge left. So that sounds about right, about 40 miles. I think that's pretty accurate. Some other cool stuff to point out with this scooter right here. Again, really just, first of all, I mean, look at this thing, okay? You'll notice, let me get low here so you can see. Look at that. No kickstand, right? This thing is self-balancing, okay? not like gyroscopic like a hoverboard. It's self-balancing because of the tires here. The tire profile on this is really interesting. It's a very, very flat tire profile, okay? So it does stand upright on its own, and you'll see the edges start to curve on the edges. So riding this thing, it feels like riding a motorcycle, like a Harley style bike, right? If you guys have ever ridden a heavy motorcycle, you'll feel right at home on this thing. You really gotta lean, really gotta commit to the turns, really lean into this thing to get it going side to side. And it feels like butter, man. Like once you hit that edge of the tire, it just starts to grab and starts to turn. It just feels really good to ride this thing. Very, very smooth, very comfortable ride overall. I love the fact that it self-balances here. It just makes it easy. You can get on this thing, right? Get on it like this, come up to a stop, you just get off, and that's it. You don't have to deploy a kickstand, it's just ready to go right here. So one of the cool stuff about this, let's talk about brakes first real quick. Then we'll go over to the electronics here of this thing. Brakes on this are gonna be hydraulic disc brakes, front and rear. Let me get a closer shot here of the brakes. Hydraulic disc brakes, I think they are 180 millimeter calipers on this. 180 millimeter discs, good sized brakes, plenty of stopping power with these hydraulic brakes, which honestly you're gonna want because of the top speed, because of the weight of this thing. I mean, this frame here, it's an all aluminum frame, which is awesome because normally these type of scooters, these like fat scooters, right? They typically have a steel frame because steel is easier to work with than aluminum. If you bend an aluminum tube like this, and you get it wrong, you don't get a second chance. So it's difficult to work with, but having aluminum means that you get to shave off like about 30 pounds. So even though it's heavy at like 100 pounds, 95 pounds, something like that, it's actually quite a bit lighter, quite a bit lighter than a comparable scooter that's made with a steel frame. So yeah, okay. Electronics. First of all, check this out. Kind of hard to see in direct sunlight, but it does have a front light. And I gotta say, I'm impressed, man. I typically have a lot of gripes about headlights on electric vehicles. They're just not that great. This not only increases visibility, this headlight right here, but it does a good job of illuminating the path. It's more of a spill pattern. It's not really a throw. It's a really dispersed beam pattern, but it just looks good. Looks good at night. It does illuminate my path, and I can actually use that to see where I'm going, not just increase visibility. It also has a rear light here, a tail light. Whenever it's on, whenever the bike is on, this thing just has a steady on tail light. If I hit the brakes, it'll actually blink, like people know that I'm stopping. So illumination and safety, I do dig that. Now for electronics, okay, let me get the keys out here. I gotta show you guys this, okay? So for electronics in this thing, let me get focused. So to turn it on, you gotta hold the button down right here. Okay, that's gonna turn it on, and it has an RFID card, and you swipe this thing to turn it on. Boom, that's it. So there's no passcode, no key. It's an RFID thing, and it's just, I mean, come on, how dope is that, man? It's just, I love it. I think it's so cool. So once this thing is turned on, let's see if you can see the light blinking back here now that it's on. Can we see that here in the light? There we go. So that's what it looks like when the brakes are activated. It blinks like that. Here's the front headlight. Hopefully you can see it blinking here a little bit. Yeah, so it's blinking like that. And it's blinking because this thing has like an emergency brake. So like let's say I park this on a hill, I can depress the brake lever here, hit this little latch, and it actually, like that's the brake normally, but I do this, hit that latch, and it locks the brakes back, puts pressure on the pad so this thing does not roll around. Love that. Now, let's say somebody wants to steal this thing. I'll unlock it up, right? Let's say when I park it, I turn it back off. Okay, to turn it off, I'm just gonna hold the button here like this, and now it's locked. Now watch this, okay? It's locked. Now if I push this thing, I actually can't, you can hear the back wheel skidding out. And that's because it's got sensors in this thing, and if it tries to move when it's locked, it locks the back tire, so you can't push this thing away, you can't scoot it away, and it weighs 100 pounds, so who's gonna pick this thing up and carry it? I mean, what a dope feature is that, man? Like, what a cool safety preventative feature. Just really cool stuff, and I love the display on this thing. I really do. It's so small and like just simple and elegant. Not a lot of info on it, just the basics, right? Battery power and percentage, so you know exactly how much juice is left. You got the speed, like how much, an estimated range, all that stuff. And again, the brakes, I do dig those. The wires are something too that I really like. Check this out here. Let me get a switch hands. God, this gimbal is heavy, guys. All right, switching hands here. Okay, so look at the wires on this. They're all internally routed, or just about all internally routed. Even the brake cables, right to the handlebars. You see they pop out here, back into the frame. I mean, just, it keeps it looking so clean, right? So fresh and so clean. It's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm gushing over this thing, but honestly, it's really a good quality machine. So fun to ride. I do want to point out that, yeah, look, there's no suspension on this, right? This is it's a solid fork here in the front. And there's gonna be a lot of comments about that, and that's fine. It's totally fine. Some of you guys are gonna want suspension, and that makes sense. But I do want to say that even without suspension, this thing is a smooth ride. Like it feels pretty cushy. Like it soaks up cracks, little bumps in the road pretty well, and that's because this thing has those big old fat tires with all that air volume in it, and those tires act like a sort of suspension in and of themselves. So, you know, I've tried kind of fat style scooters like this, the Harley style scooters with suspension. I can't really tell much of a difference between that and this with no suspension, just being honest here. One other thing I want to point out is the seat. Just high quality stuff, man. Like, it's comfortable. The stitching, you know, is really nice on this. Sounds like a minor thing, but I like the stitching. And it's just one of those things, like the details. These guys got all the little details right. Branding on this even, right? Hopefully you guys can see that little sticker there in the back. You know, it's there, but it's not like, Skooza! Skooza! Like, it's not huge and bright and like, I don't know, like I don't really like that when companies put like really bright branding. It's like, I don't want that. You know, this is enough. That little Skooza in the back, the black here on the fenders. I think there's another one here in the front. Yeah, right here. It's just enough, and it looks dope, right? Kind of blends in there, just looks clean, looks elegant. Really like it. So, look, man, that's pretty much all I got for this thing. You know, it's funny. It's like, it's kind of simple, not a lot to go over here, but at the same time, a lot of little elegant features. So I think at this point, let's take this beautiful, beautiful machine out for a ride. All right, guys, that is pretty much it for the review on this scooter right here. Again, this thing is really going to excel for people who want to actually commute with this vehicle. This thing does have like a 40-mile range, that huge 1,000 kilowatt hour battery pack, or 1 kilowatt hour, 1,000 watts, whatever, 1,200 watt motor at 28 mile per hour top speed. Super stable platform. I mean, this thing self-balances. It's got the auto lock feature, so it can't be stolen. You can't pick it up and carry it because it weighs almost 100 pounds. And again, it's just a really nice ride. So for somebody who's looking to, who doesn't really want an electric bike, who doesn't really want a traditional stand-up electric scooter, doesn't really want an electric skateboard, this is a great option for being able to fulfill that more than last mile solution to getting to work, getting to a coffee shop, going grocery shopping, whatever, but really using this as a commuting vehicle. Of course, it can also just be used for having fun, going out, touring the town, whatever. All in all though, I do have to say I am really, really, really impressed with how this thing performs, the overall value of it, the hydraulic disc brakes, just really, there's so much stuff here like we talked about. Love this scooter, and yeah, it is expensive, but I do think it does offer a lot of value. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the comment section below. If you have any other vehicles you want us to review, any other electric skateboards, electric scooters, electric bikes, whatever, leave those in the comments. We can start a conversation there as well. So again, have an awesome day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.